we'll call them up.
Okay. We will now reconvene into open session at 5:08. Okay, I'd like to report in closed session. During closed session, the board took an action on personnel matters. Specifically, the board approved the release without cause of employee number 2585 by the vote of 5-0. Okay, we will now do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam President, we are off school this week, and so we don't have official representation from our schools, but we do have some special guests that would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today.
Okay. Come on, boys. Come on, Wyatt. Okay. You want to start?
Say, put your right hand over your heart.
Say, put your right hand over your heart.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Braden.
And Braden, come on up, shake my hand. Great job. Thank you for being here tonight.
Shake grandma's. Now go along, shake everybody's hand.
Thank you very much.
His name is Braden Spradlin. That's my grandson. Thank you, Braden. We will now move on to the comment session. Comments and announcements by board members. Sandra Barnes.
I would just like to take a moment to extend the Jackson family for the loss of Reverend Jackson yesterday. Big loss in our country.
Yes. Beth Parmentier.
Thank you. I wanted to thank the safety committee. We have it on the agenda for the cover letter. It was very helpful and I appreciate that. I also wanted to thank our meal service staff and everyone who did the meal service this week. We got a wonderful email about how well it went, and that's great for our community. I was able to attend Studio's Santa on Trial performance, and they did a wonderful job, and thank you.
Bill LaGrone.
I have no comments at this time.
Daryl Thompson.
I have no comments. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I say the same. I'm going to write on Beth's coattail. I think the meal distribution is very important, especially in our community. And so we just want to thank the staff for all the work that they did. And I know it took some time. And so I just want to thank them for all their hard work. And thank you, Andrew, as well, for sending out emails and making sure that we are told about all these things that are happening in our district. Thank you. We will now have comments and announcements by administration. Dr. Spencer Holtum.
So just to give you a little bit more information about services for feeding our families. This week is our winter recess, and so we're off this entire week. And a lot of our families rely on their kids getting breakfast and lunch at our schools on a regular basis during the normal school week. Well, with this week being out, we do not get funded through the food program to serve breakfast and lunch to our children. But our board and our food service department has made a commitment to the families of this community to ensure that there's an opportunity for that. And so on Tuesday at Wyandotte, we served 2,400 meals, or gave out 2,400 meals to our families. And basically what food services does is put together plastic bags for each student for 1 week of meals that they would have missed. And so families can come in, and what they do is they drive up curbside and tell us how many students they have, or how many children they have. And they tell us 5, then we take out 5 big sacks and hand them the 5 sacks for the week. And so, but again, that's not reimbursable through the federal program or the state program, but it's something that our board here has made as a priority for our families. So I just want to applaud everybody who's a part of that, our board, food services, and again, our district. And I just want to let everybody know that it is very, very wet and windy and cold outside, and wish all of our staff that are taking this week off to be safe and healthy, and look forward to seeing everybody back at school on Monday.
Thank you. Andrew James.
Good evening. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on the discussion about the meals. When I started here at Orville City Elementary, I think the mission was always, this is a district that had a mission, and it was to serve the children of this community, and it was to serve this community. And it's always going to be a fight, and it's always going to be challenging. But I feel like there's expressions of care going on that our staff, our teaching staff, our campus supervisors, everybody does, that is passionate about Orville and passionate about our students. And I just wanted to thank the board for being a part of that. I thanked you in the email as well, supporting like the ELOP plan to be able to pay for these meals is a huge deal. And I'm just very proud to be a part of OCESD. It's something that when you work here, it never goes away. Every single day, it's how do we help these kids? How do we help this community? So I just wanted to thank the board.
Thank you. Vince Young.
So I have 2. First of all, I've been working with the publishers for the math adoption coming up. And so pilot training is scheduled for next week with Big Ideas being the publisher, and the following week with HMH. So our teachers who are on the adoption committee will be piloting both the materials that we're going to be working on, so we can go ahead and bring it to the board later on in the school year. I just also want to let our members of the public know that as required by law, we will have a set of the materials also at the district office for any member of our families that would like to view that prior to the adoption of the materials. Aside from that, the second thing is you have in front of you a proposal for Teacher of the Year and Classified Staff of the Year in partnership with the Orville Rotary Club. This was something that Dr. Holtum had wanted to go ahead and see if we can reach out to our community to support and sponsor. And so I've been working with the Orville Rotary Club, and their board had met and approved the partnership of the plan to support our Teacher of the Year and our Classified Staff of the Year program to take place in May of this school year. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I want to share with you that Holly Gutierrez is out ill this evening.
Okay, thank you. So noted. We will now move on to public comment. Comments by the public. At this time, the board will extend invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on matters which are school related. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise a hand button to be called on to speak. Is there anybody online? Is there anybody? Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. This is my final statement before this board, Superintendent Holtum, and everyone listening. Silly me for believing I was part of a district that truly cared about its students. Silly me for thinking this district valued equity and equality for all. Silly me for believing that coming before you would lead to real change. Silly me. We bring our grievances, our concerns, our pain, our angst, and what happens? Chitter chatter behind closed doors, laughter behind our backs, but no real resolution. And I can't help wonder if I had assaulted a teacher after my child was viciously attacked, if I had retaliated in a moment of fear and anger, what would the outcome have been for me? Because when a teacher is tenured or protected by the union, suddenly there are excuses. Suddenly it's a bad day. Suddenly accountability becomes optional. A teacher openly admits to taking a pharmaceutical, blacking out in rage, and that's acceptable. But a child having a behavioral moment is treated as a threat, and a child being attacked is somehow justified. This entire situation has been a teachable moment, not for my child, but for me. A lesson in who this system or this school district protects, a lesson in who it listens to, a lesson in who it dismisses. And today, I leave with this truth. I may be done speaking before you, but I'm not done advocating for what is right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to recognitions. All about the children.
Do we have any representatives from All About the Children here this evening? Come on up.
Good evening. Am I coming up along? This is one of my cohorts in crime. Anyway, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Linda Pifferetti Horn, and I've been a member of the Oroville community since 1966 when my husband, who was hired at Las Plumas High School as a teacher and a coach. So we had two small babies when we moved here. So I got very actively involved in the community at that time. And Lou Carlin, who was the district superintendent of the Palermo School District at that particular time, was beneficial in helping me get started in my sojourn with children. We had so many truck farmers that were not in a mood to take anybody's handouts or this type of thing. And we definitely had winters back then. We had rain. You had a raincoat and boots because you needed them. And then look at today. But found a way. The truck farmers would not ask anything from the school district for their kids, and nor would they take any handouts. So I decided to invert it and turn it around, that if we could start a bank, that we could say, bring us your coats. Kids grow so fast, and we will exchange them for new coats or refurbished coats. And Tom Britton, who owned Modern Dry Cleaners at the time, paired up with me and said he would take the old coats and he would refurbish them if they needed buttons, zippers, or cleaning or whatever. And then we could put them back into the bank again. So in other words, you were just exchanging. You weren't taking a freebie from anybody. And it was very successful. And I hope that it's still going on. But anyway, time goes on. And I started All About Children. I guess not legitimate is not the word to use, but as a nonprofit in the last 20 years. So we have continued on with that, and we've now donated since then over 1,000 jackets. And this is the first time that we've had any response from any of the jackets that we have given, and it isn't necessary, but it's nice to be acknowledged for it, especially the people that are donating to it. We are a nonprofit, and we do camps too. We've done over 1,000 jackets that we have donated that all your kids, anybody, are running around with. And I'm sorry, I'm not being more clear about this, but I have a couple of brochures here that show this, and we've done a number of fundraisers through the years that have all been very, very successful. And we've partnered with the community in many respects. Everybody's been so pleased to help us out. And we know that the kids are running around and they're all clothed and they've got something to be proud of too. They're not second-class citizens. They're counted worthy, and we like to send them to camp. We send them to camp for a summer, not a summer, but for a week each summer. And we've done that for the past 25 years up at Mount Hope Bible Camp. And we've never had a kid that didn't want to go back or wanted to come home. So, and we've started with donations for scholarships at Prospect High School, and we've been doing that as well. I'm very proud to be part of the community that has supported us. So I thank you for recognizing us, and I'll leave a couple of things here if you want to take a look at.
Before you pass those out, we have a certificate of appreciation, and I'd like to read it to you at this
Okay.
time. And this is on behalf of myself and everyone here, and of course, including my members of the board. All About Children. With heartfelt appreciation, we recognize All About Children for many years of generous coat donations to Oroville City Elementary School District. Your kindness has kept our hearts full and our children warm. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to our students and community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Erin, you can take.
So if you'd like to bring those up and share those with us, we can distribute those.
Sure. Okay.
And then I would like to come down and take a picture with the two of you with your certificate, if that's okay.
I think so.
We're good.
Um, Let me have one of those back, and thank you.
So come on over here, lady.
I can't believe I'm nervous.
Well, now I gotta get a picture with this guy. Well, I got a picture with you earlier. Come on up here. Thank you so much. We appreciate your donations to us. Come on.
Excuse me.
Come on up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to presentations. LCAP mid-year report and budget overview.
Madam President,
Yes.
if you'd like to move on to discussion item number 9, we can go, if it pleases the board, we can go to that and come back to 8 while Andrew kind of gets ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
whoop,
30
okay,
seconds.
whoop.
28.
One's a PDF, the other one's a PPT. We'll do the PPT.
We'll do the PPT.
Yeah. So good evening, members of the board. We're here tonight to go over and provide the mid-year update on our LCAP for the 25-26 school year. And so as you see here, there are our update tonight will follow this structure. We'll start off with a legal background with budget impacts and then dive into metrics and expenditures. And then at the end, before finishing, we will have some time for questions. So as a reminder, this report is a statutory requirement under Senate Bill 114. By February 28th of each year, we must present a mid-year outcome data for our LCAP metrics, as well as expenditures and implementation data for all identified actions. So here we go. Since we adopted our LCAP last June of 2025, the state budget was finalized with additional funds. And consequently, our total LCFF funds have been adjusted slightly to $27,155,170, as indicated on the table in the slide. Our supplemental and concentration grants are also impacted, as shown here on the slide. Now, when we are reviewing our metrics tonight, keep in mind that the metrics are categorized into 3 buckets. 1, the unknown, where data isn't yet available. 2, in progress for ongoing data collection. And 3, known for finalized mid-year figures. Similarly, for our actions and expenditures, we track whether or not they have not started, in progress, or completed at this midpoint of the school year. So now going into goal number 1. Our first goal in the district in our LCAP states that the district will ensure that all teachers and paraprofessionals are appropriately assigned and highly qualified, and that school facilities are safe and maintained in good repair to ensure Williams Act compliance, credential assignment monitoring, and FPM monitoring requirements. Goal 1 focuses on staffing and safe facilities. I'm pleased to report to you that 95% of our teachers are fully credentialed and up from 87% baseline in 2023. And we remain at satisfactory status for both Williams compliance for facilities and instructional materials. On the expenditure side, we've completed our initial staffing actions, maintenance, teacher development, and substitute costs are all on tracking in progress, with approximately half of the budget funds expended so far. Now going on to goal number 2. Goal 2 in our LCAP states that we will improve student achievement and that the achievement gap will be lessened as students' achievement increases among all students, including foster youth, students with disabilities, white, African American, Asian, American Indian, 2 or more races, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and English learners in the areas of math and ELA. Goal 2 aims to improve student achievement and close the gap in math and ELA. For math summative SBAC scores, we are seeing positive growth in several subgroups compared to the baseline, including notably increases for our Black African American students and our American Indian students. Now moving on to ELA. In ELA, we also see upward trends in proficiencies for many groups as highlighted in blue font. And just as a reminder, we will be doing a deeper dive into the data piece next week during the board study session. And so we're looking forward to going more into details. Moving on to continuing on with goal number 2 regarding inspect. Our inspect benchmark data shows steady progress. We've seen a 5.2 increase in ELA and 4.65 increase in math from benchmark number 1 to benchmark number 2 and moving us toward the 15% annual growth target. Okay, regarding the implementation of academic standards, we did not survey staff in the first half of the school year, so this survey will be conducted in May to measure progress towards the 75% full implementation goal. Next slide there. Our key metrics for goal number 2 shows that we are maintaining a 0 dropout rate and ensuring that all students have access to a broad course of study. Our LPAC proficiency has also improved to 29.7% from the baseline of 21%. Okay, now moving to implementation goals, actions 2.1 to 2.4. We completed our classroom supply budget actions, which means that every single teacher received a $500 allocation to support with supplies and support supplemental materials. Our largest investment, however, professional development, is in progress with nearly 1.5 million in estimate actuals at this midpoint. We also completed actions for our broad study course of study, support services, technology programs, and additional instructional support that is all on track as planned. Okay, moving to actions 2.11 to 2.16. Notably here, we are not currently implementing the science adoption action as originally planned. The current staff adoption has been put on hold, and that is because we are at the end of a science adoption cycle. And accordingly, we are in the middle of a math adoption viewing, piloting for the adoption of math for next year. Following that, we will be doing the plan is to adopt ELA in the 2027-28. And then when the science adoption cycle comes around, we will work on adopting the science curriculum. However, homework and class size reduction are well underway. Okay, now moving to goal number 3. Goal number 3 is about the use of equity multiplier funds, and it focuses on Ishii Hills Middle School. And so Ishii Hills is not an equity multiplier school, so we do not receive funds for that. And as a result, the goal for this LCAP will be deleted for the 26-27 school year. And equity multiplier is based on a funding source of having 25% or more transiency rate and 70% or more low socioeconomic rate. And as such, Ishii Hills does not qualify for that. Okay, now we move on into goal number 4, which focuses on the studios at Central Middle School. Early CAST results show significant proficiency gains in ELA for our homeless and our Hispanic Latino students compared to the 2022-23 baseline. Now, if we move on over to suspension rate and chronic absenteeism, we've seen a dramatic reduction in suspension rate at studios, particularly students experiencing homelessness. Chronic absenteeism remains a challenge at studios, particularly for that same group, which is a primary focus for the remainder of the school year. For actions 4.1 to 4.4, our actions at studios include targeted math, targeted ELA interventions with a intervention specialist in place, training for homelessness through our CCSPP and through our counselors. We've also fully invested in the Threshold Rising program to support leadership and support PLC along with teacher development. For actions 4.5 and 4.6, additional climate supports include the PBIS assemblies, growth mindset, attendance, and our student support specialists, both of which are in full operation. Now moving on to goal number 5, which is that the district will improve school safety, demonstrate a strengthened social emotional learning program for all students. Goal 5 focuses on safety, social emotional learning. And so up to date, our district is slightly about 95.6% ADA, and we are seeing some progress in reducing chronic absenteeism for several of the subgroups, including American Indian and Hispanic Latinos. We continue to maintain a 0% middle school dropout rate, and we are monitoring risk ratios as shown here on the slide for disciplinary actions to ensure equitable outcomes across all student groups. Regarding suspension rate for climate and culture, the suspension rate is trending downward for many of the groups, including foster youth and English learners. And as such, we are working toward our goal of having a 25% decrease in suspension rate. Okay, on this next slide, our expulsion rate. So up to date, we had one student who our district had to expel. While that's the case, our PBIS climate survey scores are slightly below baseline data, and we are continuing to do our outreach and gather, reach out to programs to gather college and career access data for the homeless students as indicated in the table. And that will be reported later on in the spring. Okay, now for our implementations of action 5.1 to 5.7. Implementation of the goal remains steady across school climate, support students and professional development. Our largest mid-year expenditure in this area has been towards school attendance and climate initiatives. And you'll notice that also outlined in the table on this slide. And finally, 5.8 to 5.11, we are continuing to fund alternatives to suspension, attendance incentives, and finally, we also are also providing affinity clubs to ensure students feel connected and are supported, whether it be during the school day or after school. And that would conclude the mid-year update of the LCAP. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about progress or data points, along with Andrew, who has also helped to put this together as he is the budget person. Any questions?
I do. First, I want to say thank you. I think it was an excellent presentation, and I read through the LCAP that you sent, and the color coding was extremely helpful, able to very clearly see what was going on. You have an excellent way of organizing data and putting it all in there, so I appreciate it. I'm sure Andrew's part of that also, so I appreciate all of that. It made it very easy. Just in general, it felt like we had a lot of good things. So not everything's a question. A few comments and I have a question. Some good things, maintenance and custodial all filled. It was very nice. It looked like it was very easy to see where we had improved and where we need to improve still. So it was very clear, and I appreciate you color coding those to that. One of my biggest questions had to do with the absenteeism rate that just seems so high, and I'm hoping that we can maybe address that at the board session next time, maybe try to get some more information on that.
Yes.
I know we're going into data more, it's
Yeah.
gonna be more, so I don't
So
want to bring it up here,
can-
so.
I can address that. We definitely will have more data for you next week when we review that. Last year, our chronic absenteeism, well, let me go 2 years back. 2 years back, we were at 39% chronic absenteeism, which is way above the state average. We did make some progress last year where we were able to reduce that by 2 to 3% on our dashboard, which is good that we're making progress, but that still means that 36% of our kids are still missing 10% or more of the school year. Now, we have entered into a contract with BCOE where they're helping us monitor that chronic absenteeism month by month. And I'm happy to share with the board this evening, and we'll share this again next week, that we're trending right now at about 28 or 29% chronic absenteeism, which is a big improvement over last year, which will also speak to the fact that our ADA is up by about 1.5 points. 29% is still not good. It's still way above the state average, but we are putting a lot of emphasis on that, and we'll be talking to you more next week of, things that we are doing and other things that we hope to do in the near future to continue to combat that.
Yeah, thank you. I'd really like to see us try to do more soon with that. Also noticed that the EL, there was a kind of a large decline in reclassification. Is that, so
Yeah, that's just.
this is the place to ask. So I
Yeah,
just, maybe just
that's
something to think
okay.
about for next, I'm just,
Yeah,
some things I noticed.
I can quickly answer that.
Okay.
Every single year, we have a certain number of ELs. And so because of the number of ELs that have been reclassified,
English learners.
what did I say?
Yeah.
ELs, English learners, because of the number, then it impacts the percentage as well. So because we have a smaller number of ELs, then we have a smaller percentage of reclassification rate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Vince, for all the work that you do.
Thank you, Vince.
you.
We will now move on to informational school accountability report card, SARS.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and address that. So every single year, the SARC or School Accountability Report Cards are due to the state on or before February 1st of every single year. And the January, the week before, all SARCs have been turned in to the state, and all SARCs have been uploaded to our district's website according to the educational code that requires this. I just want to make sure that we update our board and making sure that we are in compliance regarding SARC School Accountability Report Card. Any questions? Okay.
I'd also like to just share with the board that Vince has done a lot of work, especially with our new principals, to ensure that they have very thorough and compliant SARCs. So thank you for spending a lot of time, especially with our new principals, to ensure that we're compliant in every aspect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. We'll now move on to discussion. First reading, revised OCESD Board Policy Manual.
Good evening, and I'm going to kind of set up this conversation. We had a team of our district office staff from HR. We had a board member who joined us. Thank you, Sandra. We had our school nurse. We had people from curriculum. We had people from all across all aspects of the district. We also had our food services coordinator. And we went through the entire CSBA new policy manual. We talked about this a few times at prior meetings, trying to move from our current board policies, which see from, there was one specific year when we apparently restated it in the past. I think it was 09. Scans with a 3-hole punch. Dated to current law, current ed code, anything at all. The new system as it's going to work. The pieces that are changing on a regular basis, so we can keep our board policies up to date, accurate, and totally compliant with ed code. So in the process, we sat with a person watching us for like 3 days in a room all together, where we went through policy by policy, and we looked at each one and said, is our old policy like a custom special policy, or is it just CSBA policy or similar from 2009? Expanded the same thing, has more ed code, obviously, because every law we made, right? So most of what we saw was just moving over, going, oh, code, it's sort of similar code. It has some updates to the law. Okay. There were some pieces of custom verbiage. the new one. And new are policies we currently don't have in our board policy that we are going to be adopting, or if you choose, will be part of this adoption. Some of these are things like, board policies we should have had, really should have required to have, but didn't have. So this will clean up a lot of that. There are all, some of the board policies that over the course of time have changed numbers.
Right.
Was
Some sections. even-
500.5 and now it's policy. It's so old. Spent a lot of time on looking over every over with his team, the HR ones. I looked over business. Kind of specialty to get their piece. We will have some more coming separately when we look at those separately. So discussion about them. That sort of sets up where you're at today. So you have on the internet. Get those. The goal is to have painful part of as we and then start getting into the cycle of, hey, to the board policies. This is the approach we're getting. It's a lot of information. Page that has the codes for what it means in the top corner. Where's the new ones? Might be as far as what we do appreciate you welcome to this process that we brought to you, probably 6 months or more. See if we have some process. The other thing that's going to be happening program. So it's all going to be a seamless thing.
Can we email you as we go through them if we have any further questions?
Absolutely. And also I'd ask you to take notes of any policy that you would like us to take a deeper look at. because what we'll do is, as that happens, we can start to pull those out individually and taking a closer look with the changes with the rest of the board. So that, yes, generally speaking, you know, you have a thick binder. And Andrew does expect you to read every single page. I don't, okay?
Yes.
But we do plan on bringing these back for a second reading and then approving them. But when we have specific policies that we want to pull out, we can make the addendum to it and then vote on those as well separately with the noted changes. I would like to thank Andrew for kind of putting this together
Yes,
and
thank you.
Christy, putting together your binders as well as this process. When Andrew wanted his new contract to go through in February, and then at the end of February, he wanted me to do a 3-day, or excuse me, January, a 3-day sit in a room and look at board policies for 3 days straight
With 24 hours notice.
with, I was like, are you kidding me, Andrew? But I will tell you that, it was a really good process, a lot of reading. But I thought it was a really good process, not only for myself, but our team
Yeah.
to review the new policies and procedures, look at our old ones and update ones that needed repair or needed updates. So thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you so much. And that is important because things have changed, things are changing and we need to make sure that we stay on top of things and we need to make sure that we're always in compliance with everything that we do.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you. I know it was a lot of work and thank you for putting your time in and thank you for the cover letter. And so just to be clear, the ones that say draft to discuss, those are not ones that we're voting on for next March meeting.
Right?
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, those will be separate.
Okay, so they're in here, but they won't be voted on, just kind of look them over. Okay.
Thank you, Christy. We'll now move on to the action session. Public comments on action items. The board will extend invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on items that are listed on the agenda. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise your hand button to be called on to speak. The Brown Act does not allow the governing board to discuss or take any action or any item that is not on the posted agenda. Is there anybody online?
No, there's not.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to make public comment? Okay. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Or does the board have any questions?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, because Dill is remote, we have to.
Line item.
Yeah.
Okay. I will now move on.
Go ahead and take a vote individually. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sandra Barnes,
Aye.
Beth Parmentier,
Aye.
Bill LaGrone, Daryl Thompson,
Aye.
and Lisa Torres, yes, myself. Okay, we'll now move on to new business. Waived second reading and adopt revised board bylaws 9250.
So these next two items have to do with board compensation. So this is the board policy that allows the change to board compensation, and the next one is the action where you increase your compensation from $240 a month. I think that's what it is, to $1,200 a month.
Up to $1,200.
If that's what you elect to do. I will say, this is something that it's not going to have a fiscal major impact on the district. I will say all of our surrounding districts have already done this. I think we're the last ones probably in the county talking about this particular issue. And if you have questions, we had some questions about if someone could decline to be paid. Yes, you can donate your funds to charity. Could you do that? Yes, you could, but you have to still pay your income taxes on it. So that sort of sets up this discussion for you. and I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but I view this as more of a discussion for the board to have.
My biggest concern is that it's tied to opportunities that we have to interface, go to school functions. And with the difficulties that we've had being appraised of the school functions, how are we going to be penalized just because we don't get told of the different school functions?
I think we will continue to look for ways to keep you up to date of all the school functions. I know that on my Friday memos, I always try to put down at the, or Christie, because we do those together, of course, of all the things that are going on. And we'll continue to, if that's something that you're seeing, then we will pay more attention to that to ensure that you have that opportunity. I will say, as your superintendent, because I know I work independently with a lot of you, that we have a very active board. Um, every one of my board members have attended meetings this past month. And I'm not talking just board meetings, I'm talking about done site visits with me. I've seen many of you at site functions or other district functions that we had throughout this month. Like Andrew shared, this is not really a conversation that, this is really a board conversation, but I will tell you that I have a very active board who takes this job as a board member very seriously, and we appreciate that, and I'm sure our community appreciates that. I will reiterate, earlier the board asked me to do a poll of surrounding districts of who is taking this compensation, and it's overwhelmingly yes, they are taking it, including all the districts in the Oroville proper area, including BCOE.
I see Daryl has his hand raised.
Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate what you just said, Sandra. I was thinking about that on a separate issue today, but if we could have maybe some type of organization so we could get notified of some functions or more functions, it might be easier for me to attend some. I know I look at my calendar and it's super full, and I don't know, maybe some kind of a monthly newsletter or something from the schools. That would be really helpful because I'd like to attend more things too, but sometimes I'm seeing them late a lot, or hearing the results of them, and positive feedback. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was there. But I would appreciate that if we could set something up to just make it a little easier to see what the events are coming up, maybe for the month. Thank you for that.
And maybe send out a weekly reminder for the principals to send us.
So I think that's a very reasonable take. Most of our principals are off this week, and so they're not attending. I do have a couple in attendance, but Christy, I'd like to ask you to take note that what I'd like to institute is at the beginning of each month, have the site secretaries, office managers work with principals to get us their events for the month, and then we can share that. We'll gather that information and forward that to the board so that as part of my Friday update, the first Friday of the month, not only give you my regular Friday update, but also a calendar for each school with the corresponding dates so that you have something to refer to and kind of set your calendar at the beginning of the year, or excuse me, at the beginning of the month. So thank you, Christy.
Beth?
Wait, no.
I am very interested in hearing what you have to
Okay.
say.
Well, first, I just want a clarification. Are we discussing both A and B right now at the same time, or just A?
Just A right now.
Just A.
And so
A
the,
is just the language from the state saying that you
Yes.
can do this, and it doesn't tie it to attending anything except for a board meeting.
Mhm.
Right, so that's,
Mhm.
okay. And then the second one is going to be about the dollar amount.
Correct.
Right. And some districts, I know when you mentioned have taken it, but they've taken different amounts also.
That is accurate.
I know the majority is taking the full amount.
I would say that the ones that I've seen have taken very close, if not the top, the maximum amount allowed.
Well, if we I'd like to see us vote on the one. This is just the language saying that you can, because you can come up with a dollar amount that can be changed yearly. I mean, if you chose something smaller today, and they want to change it next year, this just is allowing you to do that, right? So this is just one thing. And then the second part is the actual amount.
That is correct.
This is just approving the language from the state.
Okay.
I don't know, if anybody else?
So if you'd like to call for
Daryl, anybody?
a motion for
Okay.
this one.
Are we, okay. Get a motion to approve the way the second reading and adopted revised board bylaws 9250.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay. We'll take a vote. Sandra,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Bill, Daryl,
All right.
and Lisa, myself, aye. 5 yes votes. Okay, we'll now move on to increase in compensation of board members in accordance with Education Code 35120.
I'm sorry. I feel very strongly that $1,200 for being required to attend one board meeting a month is way too high. I feel. I don't feel that's comfortable. Maybe you guys want to make it to 500 or something. It just, and I know many people do other things and it all switch, but to me, it just seems for a 2 or 3 hours that you're kind of required. It seems like a lot of money, too high for me.
Daryl had.
Yes, other people probably think-
Daryl,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
just, I wanted to bring up, like I would agree with what you just said, Beth, about having low requirements. But one of the things I mentioned to Spencer was that I'd like to sit down and maybe in the study group or when we get time to kind of revise a governing document for our particular board to be able to be held to a higher standard. I am not someone that ever does the minimum required. And we might, and with that being said, I'd love to see getting the full stipend because it also gives freedom for other people to kind of choose if you wanted to donate it or even pitch it back into school programs or something. That would be good. But I'd like to see the board in general as the future, as we move into the future, just kind of hold each other accountable. That's what tribe's about, and it's up to us to say, hey, we haven't seen you at these events, or what's going on, and just kind of check in. We don't have to force each other because of our schedules, obviously, to go to certain events, but like Dr. Holtham says, this board is pretty active, which is good. And I'd love to see that. We could get more active. What can we do, and encourage that for future board members that want to be part of Oroville City Elementary to do more, and just to kind of get the reputation as, hey, our board actually hustles, and does a lot. So that's my 2 cents. But I'd like to see the stipend increase to the full amount and encourage, maybe with some kind of governing document that, hey, we at Oroville City Elementary, we hold each other accountable, and we're active. We're very active.
I concur.
And I would like to see the board go for the full amount as well.
Late, I'd be remiss if I were to say that Miss Lisa Torres does every dollar that is due her, and probably a bit more.
Agreed. Yeah.
And the rest of us slackers. But amending this kind of board language to reflect that that's what I would advise.
Bill, do you have anything to say? Are we ready for a vote?
Or can we table and discuss it at board
Well,
session?
you can make a motion and vote, or you certainly can table it. It's up to you. This is a board item.
There's really no point in tabling. You already adopted the language.
Yeah.
I mean, the language, that's conversation's over. We're
I
talking
would just like
about
to take a vote.
amount.
Okay.
I thought it was different though.
Maybe I think the language just says you can take up to a certain amount.
Right.
So this is,
This-
I'm getting the impression that maybe
For a board
want to-
policy,
attach more to it than what it is.
right?
It's for the dollar amount. So do we want to sit there and go for the full 1,200? That's gonna be the vote.
Right. So tonight, how I see it is that you would make a vote of the dollar amount. The motion would be, to approve this item with the dollar amount to be, X amount. Approve it or not. And then with Daryl's piece, that would be brought forward at that would be another board resolution where we just, as a board, just make a resolution that here's our expectation for each other as, part of our requirements of, receiving a stipend. And it wouldn't be a requirement because I wouldn't be holding you accountable or calling you out. It's just about what Daryl said is, keeping each other accountable um, but I will honestly tell you, we have, for the public to know this, we have it's not just a pretty involved, I have a very involved board. Lots of communication that goes on. And I will reiterate that I almost talk to Lisa Torres or visit her almost on the daily with questions or concerns or updates. A lot of communication takes place, and they're very active in our schools. They often do school visits with me, visiting classrooms, and do attend a lot of plays and events and things like that. And I'll just kind of leave it at that we have an exceptional board.
Thank you.
Daryl?
Yeah, and again, you guys, I think another part of my logic is just thinking about the future, and motivating people. I know that when I got on the board, my seat, I ran unopposed, and I'm not sure about the rest of your guys' seats, but people are busy, and generally people that are hustling, and making moves in the community are busy, and this could only help motivate maybe some extra people to run as we do this. And I do like, with that email that you sent, Dr. Holtum, that if you think it's too much or you're not doing enough, well, that gives each individual the opportunity to kind of throw it back to the school or any type of, it would be your stipend. You can do anything you want, but you might be able to see some of these, some funding opportunities or being able to participate in some other school programs at your individual discretion, which would be good. But yeah, with that being said, my vote is just to do the full 1,200 stipend, and yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I think you guys got like more than 2 cents from me tonight.
All right. All right. So can I get a motion? Let's see. To increase in compensation of board members in accordance with the Education Code 35120 in the amount of $1,200 a month. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Nice second. Okay. We'll get an individual vote. Sandra Burns.
Aye.
Beth Parmentier.
No.
Bill LaGrone.
Can you come back to me, please? I need a moment.
Okay. Daryl Thompson.
Aye, yes.
Lisa Torres is aye. We're going to come back to Bill LaGrone.
No.
Pass with 3 yes votes. Okay, we will now move on to approval of reduced size school site council, North State Virtual Academy.
So tonight we have Laura Fox, our principal at the North State Academy. Go
Good
ahead.
evening. As you know, this is our first year for North State Virtual Academy, and it's time for me to start building my school site council, which will convene in the fall of 2026. In normal schools that are bigger than 300, a school site council would consist of 10 or more people. It'd be a principal, a classified staff member, 3 teachers, and then 5 parents. They match the parents or community members, or it could be more. I have 42 enrolled today, which is great. We started with 7, so we are growing. And so this is a standard request for a smaller school site council of 6. principal myself. I only have one certificated staff member. She's my part-time front office clerk.
Classified.
Classified, thank you. And I have 3 teachers. So I'd like to do the standard reduction of principal, classified, 1 certificated teacher, and 3 parents to match. They do say to check with your bargaining unit. I've already done that. They've already signed off, realizing that their representation would be 1 teacher. And it is really standard. The last 2 districts I worked in, it's the same thing. Any school under 300 could do a standard reduced site council. So I'm just looking for approval so that we can have that done and turned into the state. Any questions about that?
No, I just want to say congratulations on your 42.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys are growing.
We are very excited. The heavy group is at 7th and 8th grade. My 7th and 8th grade teacher is full at 24.
Wow.
And then the rest are 2nd through 5th graders, 6th graders.
And I'm working very closely with Laura, who works very closely with her staff. And so as those numbers in our 7th and 8th grade are starting to climb, they're starting to make ratio changes as far as, who's covering what.
Yeah.
And so that we can kind of balance that load. But as she shared, we are growing at about 1 to 2 pupils or students per week. As Ms. Fox shared, we were at 7 when we started at the school year, and we have steadily grown throughout the year. Our goal is to get to 60 this year, and if we can continue to grow like we have the previous 25 weeks, we're gonna be over 50 and hopefully closer to 60 by June.
And I do, credit my wonderful teachers I have with me.
And if you can please remind us, what are your grade ages?
So we take 2nd through 8th graders this year. And so I have a teacher taking 2nd through 5th. She's taking the new 4th and 5th graders because we're, like Dr. Holtum said, we're kind of adjusting our numbers because we're finding our 7th, 8th grade group is growing. And then another teacher takes 4th through 7th graders. And then my junior high teachers take 7th and 8th graders. So we kind of have overlap in 7th grade and overlap in 4th and 5th. We have 2 teachers possible. So we've just had to shuffle because the numbers are growing and it's exciting. And yeah, we're doing great. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you.
Does the board have any questions? Can I get a motion to approve the approval of the reduced size school site council for North State Virtual Academy?
I'll make it, okay.
I'm sorry, who was the first?
Bill,
Bill? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we're gonna do a vote. Sandra?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Bill?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
And myself, Lisa, passed with 5 yes votes. D, approve 2025-26 comprehensive safety plan.
So we worked on the comprehensive safety plan through the safety committee. And if you'd like to see a magic trick, here it is. They added 2 bills that impacted our safety plan. SB 848, which had to be adopted at the next time we would adopt our safety plan, and SB 98 that had to be adopted by March 1st. So SB 848 also has to be adopted by March 1st. They just didn't say it in the first one. So there's your magic trick. I pulled a rabbit out of a hat. It was great. So here we are. It's before March 1st, and we're looking to adopt our safety plan with the changes in SB 98 and SB 848 and a couple other changes. SB 98 is, I believe, the SAFE Act, and the part that impacts the safety plan, and this is all I'm focusing in on these bills, because there's massive bills, has to do with if there's immigration law enforcement action at a school site, parents, guardians, and staff are to be notified straight away. So I put in the safety plan a protocol for doing that via Parent Square. The beauty of using Parent Square is as parent to select how they would like and which language to be contacted. So that's the SB 98 requirement, and I wrote that, I highlighted what parts these impacted on the letter. I provided the cover letter. SB 848 has more. Probably a long overdue type of language. That's are now mandated reporters. There is concern that this will have some reporter training. You know, there's some. And also things you should and shouldn't do, and all in the facilities, so that there's not one-on-one types of things happening behind closed doors. So we added all the SB 848 language throughout the safety plan in the appropriate spots. Other things we did a few years back, this board made a motion to have our classroom doors shut time. And then also the standard response protocol language that was in our safety plan was the so I updated the language, and I also added in the current standard response protocol guidebook to the back of it as an appendix. So people who are looking through our safety plan, yeah, because we have some select scenario protocol steps are, but that gives a response protocol and what you're supposed to do. I also had it looked over by the County Office of Ed. Does. So I feel like I went through that. We went through that. Tried to clean up anything we could, make sure it's.
So Andrew, I have a question. So for volunteers, all volunteers are background checked, right?
Wandering around things, you are back. Type of a volunteer, so I want to make sure. We're working. That starts.
And so I have one more. Go ahead.
I was just going to clarify that. So that would be somebody who wants to. Are coached by a certificated or classified employee, but not always. And so that would be one example of where we make absolutely sure that somebody who is working, that closely with our students on a daily basis as part of as a basketball coach, has that type of clearance, not somebody who's just coming in, and helping with, Valentine's party and, things like that. Although those parents still get a background check, and Christy is part of that process. We check all of our volunteers, and if they have any kind of record, they are required to meet with me.
And how long are their background checks good for? Do you do them every year for the volunteers or?
Charges your record.
Okay.
So staff. can access that information in a very type of environment. So, as long as you're with us as
All right, thank you.
So you just have to do it once and then that's it.
you do it
Okay.
one time and that you get fingerprinted the one time.
So when that happens, we get a hit, I'm notified. And if it's like a parent volunteer, I would reach out to them immediately, suspend them from, that activity until we were able to clear up whatever that might be.
Okay.
And I think parent volunteers just in the classroom, it's a 2-year thing once you've kind of checked in with your driver's license. I also wanted to thank you for the cover sheet. It made it very easy to go through and kind of look and see what stuck out different. One suggestion is for the people that will have to start taking the training. Just know it's kind of intense for people that don't work with children, haven't seen that before. It's a lot they give you, a lot of examples of things and maybe prepare them so they understand a little bit of what they're going to be seeing.
Yeah, and that's part of what we're looking for with our liability carrier, because they realize that this is not the same group of people who see these types of trainings on a regular basis. They're trying to find one that is appropriate for the volunteer group. And also maybe it's not through this. Together. So we're trying to sort out what's more appropriate, because we certainly don't want to scare people off from volunteering. Certainly is going to do, right? Because child neglect, that's a big responsibility. But it's all of our responsibility, to be real honest. Something that, people got that thing, but we are working on trying to find something that's appropriate for the volunteers.
I think maybe a classroom setting would probably be comfortable where everybody can get together and.
We're trying to figure out our liability.
Okay. Did you have a question, Sandra? Okay. All right, can I get a motion to approve the 2025-26 comprehensive safety plan?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll
Okay, we'll take-
second.
Okay, Sandra Barnes,
Aye.
Beth Parmentier, Bill LaGrone,
Yes.
Daryl Thompson,
Yes.
and Lisa Torres, myself, pass with 5 yes votes. We're gonna move on to business and finance. Resolution number 25-26-01, self-insure workers' compensation liabilities.
So last year, we approved a resolution to move our property and liability coverage from Bay School Insurance Authority, IA, which is School Insurance Authority. Part of that process was we were going to be moving our compensation coverage from NBSIA to SIA as well. Workers' comp, and we're going to SIA. All has to do with program and a good SIA is the biggest property and liability coverage for schools in California, and we've been very happy with them. So we're excited to move over our workers' comp as well.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions? Can I get a motion to approve the resolution? I'm sorry. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we'll vote. Sandra Barnes,
Aye.
Beth Parmentier, Bill LaGrone,
Yes.
Daryl Thompson,
Yes.
Lisa Torres, myself, passed with 5 yes votes. We'll now move on to personnel. Revised job description for preschool master teacher.
So the preschool master teacher job description that's before you here, the only thing that's changing is the salary level. When we originally made this position, which was probably 7 years ago, when we were trying to apply to get a state preschool, the salaries for that position have changed dramatically. We looked at all the other preschools in our area that have this same position, and the master teacher position is have the same title, right? For all the state preschools. So this is moving that position to the appropriate salary level going forward, because the one we had was far too low. And we've been having a difficult time keeping a preschool master teacher, as they're like, hey, I can go to any other preschool. Same job title. So that's what this move is the study, and we're putting this position on the right placement. We did meet with CSCA about this position. They are CSCA positions back in October, and this is the last piece of that puzzle.
And so it was negotiated and settled upon.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the revised job description for preschool master teacher.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We'll do an individual vote. Sandra Barnes,
Aye.
Beth Parmentier, Bill LaGrone,
Yes.
Daryl Thompson,
Yes.
Torres, myself. Yes, pass with 5 yes votes. We will now adjourn the meeting at 6:29. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.